Hey, first grade. This is Mr. Ward here, and I'm going to just do a little bit of reviewing of some of the instrument stuff we've been talking about. We have been talking about instruments that come from 3 families so far. Can you think of any of those? Okay, I'll give you one. One was the string family, or the strings family. Can you think of any more? Okay, another one was the woodwind family, and then the brass family. So those were the 3 families, and in each family there are all kinds of different instruments. So I have some pictures here. If you look at these pictures of instruments, do you know any of what family any of these would be in? Do you see any that would fit in the strings family here? Hopefully you're thinking this one, and you're correct. This one, because the boy is standing, is probably one of the bigger ones. Can you think of what that one's called? So the only one that you have to stand to play in is as tall as a person playing it is the string bass. Remember that the low instruments are the biggest ones, and so that one is the string bass. That one plays boom 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 about that low. That's the string bass. And then this one, since the bow is as long as it is, you know what that one would be? So it's probably hard to tell from just this little drawing, but I would say this is probably either a viola or a violin. Those would probably be one of those. And then the other one, the other string instrument, is the cello. The cello is one that you sit to play. So those are the 4 string instruments that we usually have in an orchestra: violin, viola, cello, and string bass. Alright, how about if we're looking at these instruments, do you see any brass instruments? Brass. So brass are the ones that are goldish color, or a brass color. You see any? Okay, so hopefully you're thinking it's this one, and this one. These 3. And then the one that's not showing is the slide trombone. That was the one where, if you remember watching on Mr. Rogers, he could move part of it. That was the slide part, I don't have a picture of that one on this sheet. But then we have the trumpet, the French horn, and the tuba. So those were the 4 brass instruments we talked about: the trumpet, the French horn, the tuba, and the trombone. So we can see 3 of them here. Alright, well then we must have, the rest of them must be woodwind instruments. Do you see which 4 of these are the woodwind instruments? So 3 of them have mouthpieces. You can see that your mouth would go on, your lips would go on this, that, and then this is the bassoon. Your lips would go right onto that. And then you blow into those 3. This one, the flute, has this little mouthpiece, but it's a little different because you don't actually put it in your mouth. You blow across that hole right there. So this is the flute, the oboe, the clarinet has that kind of mouthpiece, and the bassoon is the biggest one. This really should be a lot bigger, because it should be a lot bigger than those 3. It's not really to scale. Those are the 4 woodwind instruments. At one time, they all were made of wood, which is why they're called woodwind. But now they all have metal parts in them, and especially the flute is usually silver or gold in color, and that's the kind of metal that they use to make the flute. These 3 do still have some wood parts in them usually, but they also have some metal and some plastic parts. Now, and so that is just a little review of some of the wind instruments and the string instruments in the orchestra. Next week we will do some percussion instrument and talk about those. But this week is just kind of the end of spring break, and you want to just make sure, if you haven't finished any of those assignments from before, where you were describing the timbre of the different string instruments, describing the timbres of the different woodwind instruments, and the timbres of the brass instruments using the video of Mr. Rogers. That is your assignment, just to finish up. If you have already finished everything, then you're all set. And then, of course, you're also reviewing your Bible theater stuff or catching up on that. I will send an email to you all. You should have gotten one with missing assignments. If you haven't gotten anything, then probably you're not missing anything. But if you want to email me just to check, I'll let you know. But that is just a little instrument orchestra review. And I hope you have a great week, and we'll have some new stuff next week.